This is Texans TV. Texans Extra Points, presented by Community Coffee, official coffee of the Houston Texans. Also sponsored by Reliant, the official energy provider of the Houston Texans. And by your Houston area Ford dealers. Ford is the best in Texas. And by Amegy, the official business bank of the Houston Texans.
Let's go for what we got. Need some juice, need some energy, and just do your job. Punch the ball. Here comes pressure. He's going to go down. Touchdown, Houston. Rock and roll.
Hey there, welcome into Texans Extra Points. My name's Drew Doherty, and we've got a heck of a show for you because Brandon Scott from Sports Radio 610 is with us, as well as DP Sidhu. You're a Houston Texan like me, and we have to get into so many different things because in 5 years, if you take Dameon Pierce out of the equation, which of the Texans' current rookies will have been the most impactful? Plus, we're going to do that same exercise on the defensive side of the ball. We also need to get into a Texan to watch, and we're going to wrap things up like we always do with 2 keys to a Texans victory, but we start with the offense. And at the halfway point, what's got you most excited about the future of the Houston Texans?
Well, honestly, it's a player that hasn't played in the last 2 games, but still, when he did last play, was emerging as one of their best offensive weapons, if not the best wide receiver on the team, and that's Nico Collins. I think we saw, or are seeing at least, a little bit of a passing of the torch where Brandon Cooks has been that guy the last couple of years. Now Nico Collins is in his 2nd year. You got to remember he didn't play college football his last season with the COVID season, so missed a lot of time. That would have been really important in his development. Now you see him making up for that time. Really excited to see how Nico Collins develops on the offensive end as possibly a number 1 option for you going forward.
I like that one. How about you?
I mean, I got to go Dameon Pierce. I got to go my guy, DP. Has to pick DP. He's had his season high in carries and in rushing yards on a national stage. So everyone got to see what he's doing. And I think there's a big push for him to be Offensive Rookie of the Year. So he's been a lot of fun to watch. I feel like whenever he makes those big plays, the entire offense gets going, gives him a little bit of juice. And I just can't wait to see what he's able to do throughout the rest of the year, especially once the passing game gets going and things start coming together. I think Dameon Pierce is such a big part of that.
And for the record, I always giggle because after Dameon Pierce talks in the locker room, the folks that have interviewed him say, "Hey, thanks, DP," and she always says, "You're welcome."
You're welcome.
She always gets that in there, and
I'm the original DP.
And that's
I'm the
why
OG.
I had to leave DP for DP because it was too perfect. It was way too perfect for it to go to me.
Makes me giggle every time. So with all that in mind, DP, how about touches for DP? Over under, let's set it from now on. How many does he need to get a game for the Texans to start, keep winning basically?
I mean, we've seen him go as low as 11, 12, 15. We've seen him go as high as 27 like in the Eagles. That makes me nervous because I just want to preserve the DP for the rest of the year. So I'm going to go 25. I like it when he gets over 20. He's a big part of this offense. I think 20 is just too low. I'm just going to go 25 and, say let's do 25.
Let's do 24 and a half, so it's 25 is
just
the over.
Because why not, right?
Just to be there. But what's your number?
Yeah, and I respect DP looking out for DP, wanting what's best for DP. And honestly, I'm right there. I would even go even lower.
Really?
Just because, well, here's the thing. I would like for them to have more options. Right now, to me, the offense with Dameon Pierce being so great, we all love it, but he's kind of the main guy standing out, and it's almost, to me, developed into a little bit of a predictability. I would love to see him be able to get somewhere around 20. Let's put it at 20 and a half. Look, you got to look for the future. I mean, DP just told you, what are we most excited for, right? I mean, you don't want to wear this guy out too early, right?
Okay, with all that in mind, take Dameon Pierce out and think about the offensive rookies that the Texans have. 5 years from now, who are we talking about has been the most impactful? Very quickly, go.
Well, 5 years from now, I could certainly see John Mechie being one of the great stories, comeback stories. Wouldn't we love to see that? I'm rooting for it personally. Everything you've heard about him is that he's a great teammate, a great person to be around, and we know how much we liked him at Alabama as a football player. So I'm looking forward to being around John Mechie, having him in the locker room, and having him on the football field.
All right, he's got Mechie. Who's yours?
I like Mechie because we see him all the time in the locker room and on the field. I'm going to go Kenyon Green. I mean, they sort of threw him into the fire. He's been a starter pretty much from week 1, and I'd like to see him as part of this offensive line because I think he's only going to get better and better as the years go on. So I'm going to go Kenyon Green.
If that all happens from y'all's predictions or wants, it's a bright, bright future. Okay, speaking of bright things, John Harris is always bright when he has the telestrator, and he looked at some good stuff that happened in the Philadelphia Eagles game. Enjoy.
Texas came up with a huge takeaway against the Eagles after 2 big chunk plays for the Eagles. The Texans defense rose up here with Steven Nelson coming off the edge here. Now, there are a couple things that I can point out here. First of all, the Texans, because they were going fast, were having a little trouble getting lined up. You can see Sting right here. He's got to get all the way over to this trip set, and it takes him a little while. But the Eagles also didn't really seem like they had an idea on this play either. You watch A.J. Brown is like, wait, what am I doing here? He doesn't even move. He just stands there because he doesn't even really know what he's doing. So it felt like it was kind of off as it was. But against a lone tight end, what we call a nub, N-U-B, nub tight end, it gives the Texans some opportunities to do some things. And earlier in the year, I was watching the DBs in practice, and they were working on this exact drill where a coach is standing here, and Nelson would come off the edge, or a corner would come off the edge, and he'd work on dropping the shoulder and then getting to the quarterback. That's exactly what he does here. Jack Stoll just reaches out with a hand, can't get him, and then Nelson turns, and bang, he hits Hurts, and Hurts has no idea that he's even coming at all. They've got it pretty well set up in the back end here. Good coverage. AJ's not doing anything. So that takes away one threat, and then Nelson does the right thing. When he strikes Hurts, he then gets the ball out. Let's take a look from the end zone view, and you can see it a little bit better. Here's Nelson. Now, you don't know if he's going to be manned up here, so when he takes off, Stoll's a little bit late. You can see he's late. Oh, one hand, and then boom to Hurts. Gets the ball out. Jaleel gets on it. Big takeaway at 7-7 that the Texans came up here with Steven Nelson with the sack fumble.
First down at the Houston 27 pistol set. Here comes Hurts, and he's sacked, and the ball is out. Scrum for it. The Texans say they have it, and they do. Jaleel Johnson recovers.
It's always fun to see the run game come together, and it absolutely did on this run right here. Now, a lot of runs this year. Dameon Pierce has been breaking a lot of tackles and doing a lot of things at the line of scrimmage. This play is schemed up so well, he doesn't get hit till at least 6-7 yards downfield. Let's take a look. Texans are in 12 personnel, so they got their 2 tight ends here in a YY wing. And you got OJ and you got Jordan and Brevin, it looks like over here. So they're going to do a great job. They see Chris go in motion. They're going to start this because they're going to block down. That's Brevin blocking down here with Titus. So they're going to get a little bit of Fletcher Cox and then bump off to the linebacker here, block down there. And they're pulling Kenyon Green, and they're pulling Laramie Tunsil. Kenyon, keep an eye on him. He's going to blast Josh Sweat. Akins is going to release out, arc release, and then take the corner. And what that does is it's going to leave. You can see the hole opening up right here. Look at all these white shirts. They got a red helmet right in front of him. Kenyon makes that block, and Laramie's popping through there, and there's nobody there. Dameon Pierce gets on his back, and it's time to ride. Look at that, 6, 7, 8 yards downfield. Now he starts breaking tackles, but that play is blocked up so brilliantly. Let's take a look at the end zone view, and you can see all the blocks come to fruition here. Double team off to the linebacker, down, pull around and kick out. Turn around, this is classic GT counter out of the gun. Dameon with a good counter step here to sell, and then go the other way. Then look at that hole, just whoop. Man, it's like getting in the left lane going 105. Man, it's pretty. And then all of a sudden he turns into the F-150 truck. Bang, bang, get off me. Look at Dameon Pierce, man, that's fun, but the offensive line did a great job on that scheme right there.
First down from the Houston 37. Here's the snap to Mills. Handoff, Pierce, right side, 40. Mills on the handoff to Pierce. Pierce still going to the right side, takes it across the 40, and he's out of bounds inside the 30-yard line. First down at the Houston 27 pistol set. Here comes Hurts, and he's sacked, and the ball is out. Scrum for it. The Texans say they have it, and they do. Jaleel Johnson recovers. The Texans turn the Eagles over.
Gotta go take it. Gotta go take the ball.
We're back. He was shot out of a cannon the other night. That was Steven Nelson with the fastest sack of the year for the Houston Texans. Nice work by him. That's a next-gen stat provided by AWS. Drew, DP, Brandon, let's do what we did before the break with the offense, and now we're going to do it with the defense. A lot of rookies because you had a lot of draft picks in 2022. Which of the rookies in 5 years will have been the most impactful so far? And hey, hopefully they're just halfway through, not even halfway through their career. Who are you going with?
Drew, as fun as the offense and talking about the offense one was, the defense really has me intrigued because you've got the number 3 overall pick, and then you've got 2 other rookies that I know the team and the coaches are excited about, and safety Jalen Petrie, the second-round rookie, and of course, linebacker Christian Harris, who's just been playing the last few games and missed some time early on because of the injury. But again, we saw the reaction from Lovie Smith and from Nick Caserio when they drafted this guy. You saw him at Alabama. We know what he could possibly do, but number 3 overall pick, Derek Stingley, and just the opportunity there. Like we're already seeing, I think, from both of the young corner, a lot of the young corners, honestly, this is a really good corner draft. Sure. And Derek Stingley has a chance to be among the best of them, the very best of them. And hey, how would you like to have a guy that just totally covers up a side of the field that the offense, the opposing offense won't even consider? Derek Stingley has the potential to be that kind of player. And so that's what I'm looking forward to seeing over the next 5 years. Maybe we don't see it now as a rookie. You know, have some trials there.
We're seeing good things, though, for sure.
Good things.
We're seeing stuff that hasn't been happening around here in quite some time.
But if that's what you see now, imagine what you might be seeing in 5 years.
I love that. All right, who's it for you then?
I mean, I could take what he said and apply it to Jalen Petrie because I feel like all these defensive rookies are so exciting. There's really no wrong answer, but I feel like with Jalen Petrie, when he came in here, he just sort of carried himself like he was a vet. He's so good. He's so studious on the field. It seems like he knows what's happening as it's happening, and I just think that if he's doing that as a rookie, what's going to be happening in 5 years from now? I really expect him to be a ball hawk. He's been getting after it this year. I can't imagine how many takeaways he's going to have 5 years from now.
All right, he mentioned Christian Harris, and let's stick with you on Christian Harris. What's got you most excited about what he brings to this defense? Because, hey, a long time ago, the Houston Texans plucked a linebacker out of Alabama, and he did quite well in D'Amico Ryans, and now he's going to be a head coach sometime in the very near future. But what have you thought about Christian Harris?
I mean, I think the first thing we heard about him was his speed. We heard all the other linebackers talk about how he was the fastest linebacker in the group, and I think he just brings that element of youth and speed to this linebackers crew that, I mean, I'm not saying they're old, but they're a veteran group. Right. So you get Christian Harris back there, and the biggest issue with this defense is being able to stop the run. And I think you get a guy like him in there that's athletic, that's young. He just has to get used to his position and what he's doing out there and what he's seeing out there on the field. I think once that all comes together, he's got the athleticism and those physical traits to really put it all together.
And it's almost like you're seeing the growth in real time, game to game to game. We saw him come up with a big play last week against Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, well, and that's a big thing. You want to see week-to-week progression. You're not expecting him to come in there and set the world on fire after having not played in a long time, and he's a rookie on top of that. There's going to be a rookie curve to manage, even if he had played his first game, much less the amount of time that he missed. But I love that DP mentions, the biggest issue that they're having is in the run game and stopping the run. The next biggest issue, or possibly the biggest issue in the passing game, is covering up some of those sweet spots in the middle of the field that we know linebackers are responsible for. And you trust Christian Harris at the very least. If he doesn't have the experience yet, he's got the athletic ability and the physical traits to go out there and recover and maybe even make up for some spots that he's lacking from a process and an experience standpoint. It's just a guy that can go out there and make a play. And you see that. You do see the physical traits. So one thing about all the rookies that Christian Harris has put into this is how academic all of them are. I love to hear how everyone talks about these guys, ask great questions. They're inquisitive. Christian Harris is one of those. Even if they're kind of quiet around us, they're asking questions amongst each other, and you can see the growth week to week with Christian Harris.
Well, like you say that, or I like that you say that, because I've got to ask a question of you, and I guess of you too, both of you. Let's do some trivia, because we got to end this segment. So, the Texans beat the Giants 16-14 in 2002. They got a safety, 2 field goals, and who scored their lone touchdown? Well, the answer later on in the show. All right, we're back here on Texans Extra Points. Drew Doherty, Brandon Scott, DP Sidhu. Let's get into the opponent. It's the New York Giants, playing them in Jersey, 1 o'clock Eastern time, so 12 Central time here. Okay, complete this sentence. If you keep Saquon Barkley to less than blank yards, the Texans will win. What's the number?
I'm going to say 101 just to be cute. But that's just to be
that's
cute.
A Price is Right. Yeah, that's a Price is Right
Well,
trick.
But the point that I'm making there is that he can go for 100 yards. He's Saquon Barkley. He's one of the elite running backs in the league. And we can't ignore the fact that the Texans have struggled to stop the run. If you combine these things, how excellent Saquon Barkley is with how much the Texans have struggled against the run, it's reasonable to expect him to go 100 yards. What you don't want them to do is have those big, huge chunk plays that are debilitating for you, and like those 60-yard type of plays. And I can remember before the draft, EP, when we were talking to running backs coach Danny Barrett about what kind of running back that they needed to add. This was before they drafted Dameon Pierce. He talked about needing a home run hitter. Sure enough, they did that by drafting Dameon Pierce. But one of the guys that you would think about that would qualify would be Saquon Barkley as a home run hitter, a guy that can get away from you pretty quickly. So they're going to want to tackle and be right there, kind of in the trenches where you don't want to see Saquon Barkley reach the second and third levels.
And they've had their share of home run hitters. You get Derrick Henry. They're going to see Nick Chubb later in the season, Jonathan Taylor, Josh Jacobs. What do you got to do? What's the number if you want to beat the Giants?
I'm going to be less cute than Brandon, and I'm going to say 80. I'm going to pick a nice
80,
safe
wow.
number. I'm going to say 80. But the thing with Saquon Barkley is he's their leader in rushing yards, and he's their leader in receiving yards. So, I think overall you got to worry about his scrimmage yards. I think if you can keep his scrimmage yards to under 101, you're set. So I'm going to say 80 just because I think anytime you've got a rusher that's rushing over 100 yards, that's usually good for the other team. So I'm going to go 80. I think they can still win if they get the ball in the receiving game, though. So you have to be careful with him all around.
All right, they're 6-2 since 2011 when they won the Super Bowl in 2011. After that season, it's been a struggle for the Giants. It's been ugly, ugly football. So think about this. The Texans, they've got a really good running back. They are +2 in turnover differential, just like the Giants. There's a lot of similarities there, but you're on the other end of the spectrum when it comes to wins and losses. How much of like a mirror are you looking in when you see the Giants and what the Texans could be someday?
Yeah, I see a lot of similarities. The most striking one is how much both teams rely on their running backs offensively. Like the identity of both teams, I think for the most part, is the running back. Saquon Barkley for the New York Giants, and obviously the rookie Dameon Pierce for the Texans. And then not quite as positive of a note on the other end, defensively, both teams struggle against the run. That was kind of why I was a little liberal with the number that I gave to Saquon Barkley with 101 because, hey, this is one of the worst rushing teams in the league so far. You're hoping that improves, and certainly they have an opportunity to do that. But the Giants are likewise. They're somewhere close to the Texans in that way, so it could also be a big day for Dameon Pierce as well.
Okay, it's time for our Gatorade Texans to watch. Your Texan to watch is?
I just kind of gave it to you. It's Dameon Pierce.
Okay.
And we might all say this,
yeah.
But I think this is a very specific to the matchup here. Aside from Dameon Pierce being the future and this guy that we're super excited about, the Giants aren't good against the run. The Texans got a really good running back, possibly one of the top 5 or 6, 7, 8 running backs in the league already as a rookie. So that's going to be my top Texan to watch.
I like it. How about you?
I'm going to go O-line. I'm going to go the whole O-line.
Okay.
Because I think all week we've heard about how Wink Martindale, he likes to blitz more than any other team in the league, and I think that's going to put a lot of pressure on this offensive line to keep Davis Mills upright, give him some time to throw. He's got to get rid of the ball faster, and they've got to be able to run the ball as well.
I like it. That's a good choice. And since it's the whole O-line, Laramie Tunsil is a captain, we're going to make Laramie Tunsil the face of that O-line for you.
Thank you.
On this one. All right, we're going to wrap things up with mine. I'm going to go with Christian Harris. Kind of along the same reasons that you picked Dameon Pierce. Texans got to get after Saquon Barkley and limit the damage. He's going to get his, okay? I love trying to limit him to 80 yards. I would be surprised if that happens. I think it'd be tough for the 85 Bears to limit him to 80 yards. So that's who I'm going with. And after the break, we've got an answer to your trivia question, and we've got keys to a victory. Stick with us. This is Texans Extra Points.
Texans Extra Points, presented by Community Coffee, official coffee of the Houston Texans. Also sponsored by Reliant, the official energy provider of the Houston Texans. And by Mattress Firm, the official sleep partner of the Houston Texans.
Earlier, we asked you who scored the lone touchdown, the lone time the Texans beat the Giants. It came in 2002. Who do you got?
We were saying it might be a wide receiver, Jabbar Gaffney. I was trying to remember who's on this.
I went Corey Bradford.
Another good guess. It was actually Jonathan Wells. He rumbled in for a
okay.
score.
I should have guessed Jonathan Wells. How many times we've had him on the previous
You kick
show?
2 field goals, you get a safety, he scores a touchdown, and then you get a David Carr to James Allen 2-point conversion, and you beat the Giants 6-2. Brandon Scott, DP Sidhu, let's wrap things up here on Texans Extra Points. Let's get into our keys to beating the Giants. What 2 things must the Texans do to come away victoriously? Let's start with you.
I'm going to say number one, and this has been a big issue for the team, is play a complete game. Yeah. Either they struggle in the first quarter and in the fourth quarter, or they'll come out fast and finish slow, or come out slow and finish fast. You know, it's never the consistent, or rarely it seems. Obviously, they've only won one game on the season, but you want to see them play a good full 4 quarters. I think that's important, especially on the offensive end. So I'll make that an offensive point more than anything.
Cool.
Defensively, I think that a key, and we haven't talked much about Daniel Jones. We've talked a lot about Saquon Barkley, but if Saquon Barkley is going to be Saquon Barkley, but if you can keep Daniel Jones from beating you from outside the pocket and from scrambling and from getting a lot of chunk plays, that's one thing that Daniel Jones has done a good job of, is take care of the football and make some big plays for them with his legs when he's been given the opportunity. If you can maybe turn him over or limit those big plays with Daniel Jones with his legs on the defensive end, I think that would be a key to the game for the Texans defense.
Okay, those are good. How about you?
I mean, I'm going to go chunk plays on both sides of the ball. I think offensively, if you can get your wide receivers behind the defense, they do like to blitz a lot, so if you can get them down the field, get some big chunk plays throughout the game, that'll be good to get the offense moving. So you're not stagnant and you're not turning the ball over again and again and again like 3 and out. So I'm going to go big chunk plays on offense. On defense, limit Saquon Barkley so he can't peel off those long runs as well. So try to keep the offense in front of you and then try to get behind the defense on the offensive side of the ball.
I like those two. I'm going to wrap it up with this. Feast on the blitz, because Wink Martindale, is the defensive coordinator for the Giants. He loves to blitz. Let's see Davis Mills and company do good things against the blitz and make them pay. And then flip the script in the fourth quarter. The Texans have been outscored 69-17 in that final frame. Flip that script. Turn it around, you do the scoring, and limit the Giants. Brandon, DP, thanks so much for the time. We appreciate you watching. We'll be back again very, very soon on the next Texans Extra Points. Till then, go Texans. Thanks for watching. Subscribe to our channel and ring the bell to know when we post new content.